Hi guys, Jay Smith here, welcome to the AskGolfNut channel. So today is, well, possibly, hopefully, the last in the series of the 923 verses when it comes to either 923s or in the Mizuno Pro. I've basically got through to the end of the requests of, unless you guys in the comments want to go put down there, if you've got any other requests, by all means, so yeah. So this is the last one. And possibly the 923 Forged and the 223 are two of the closest golf clubs when it comes to technology within them. Now, I'm not going to go into the full technology, guys. I've done full reviews on this on my channel. If you go up there, have a little look. Yeah, I'll try and put one or two cards up. So if you want to know more in depth about these two irons individually, go take a look at the full review. But so they've both got micro slots. The micro slot in the 223 is what I call Gen 2. So you had 921 Forged with a micro slot, then the 223 came out after that, which then kind of improved a little bit on the original 921 Forged's micro slot, and then we're going to go into 923 Forged micro slot now, which is a better version of 223. Basically, it's a bigger, much more forgiving face, and also the face is thinner as well, and so thinner faces, faster ball speed, etc. And we'll test that when we go and hit them on the simulator. But the big difference between it when it comes to feel is that 223 has got that copper underlay, which will make it the unmistakable nothing feels like a Mizuno softness. Right, let's go get the simulator bay going. Let's go put it on a hole, which is going to be difficult, always over water, something tricky to hit, and we'll go do the looks and then the performance. And remember, when it comes to the end of the video, guys, I'll hit these two a load of times, hit it all around the face, and to capture how forgiving the 223 is against a 923 Forged, and how much difference there is or isn't between these two golf clubs. That'll be the end of the video. Let's get on the old simulator right now. Let's go see how these two irons look and feel. Simulator now on. We have it on the Tall Pines Golf Club. Hole 8 is a par 3 at 171 yards. We have these two to test. Let's just do the looks between these two first. Which one should we do first? Let's do Forged first. Let's get the 923 Forged and give it a hit. Right, so 923 Forged. Looks wise, it has definitely got the thickest soles, the thickest top lines, and the biggest blade lengths and stuff like that. But there's not much in it. So when it comes to, I'll pop a picture up on the screen there so you can see the actual differences in measured millimeters. And it does go to the 0.01 in some cases of a millimeter. That's how close it is when it comes to understanding these two golf clubs, that they are actually very, very close. Now, any differences are marginal between these. But everything, when you put it down by the golf ball, the 923 on as a whole does look a fraction bigger than 223, but then it will do, because this is JPX Forged, where you've got Mizuno Pro 223, and the Mizuno Pro is always smaller. Can't complain too much on that one. Really shouldn't. Slightly toey, hardly, but really good shot. Yeah, 6mm toe. It's just good. The feeling is, it's a little bit crisper. We are talking about comparing it to a 223. So I mean, 223 being copper underlay, we know exactly what it's going to be like. And yeah, if you're going to compare it to a 923 Forged, it's going to have a little bit more of a firmer hit. But I mean, 1.37, that's not bad efficiency at all. That wasn't a plumb on hit. That was not plumb on, slightly low heel. Still done very well. I mean, that's really interesting. What's that distance on that one? 174. What was the one before that? 175 something or other. So I mean, those strikes are moving around the middle, yet it hasn't changed yardage at all. And could you feel that? Yes. Are you going to get the same kind of level of feedback that you're going to get from a 223? Definitely not. But I mean, it's still working well. I mean, that's still a slightly low heely. That feels much worse than it actually was. That's a nice one. That's a nice one. Whoa, ball. So that's a nice one. And it will show the difference between when you hit it really well. 2mm heel, that's it. 1.37, slightly over close face, that's why it's going left, but I mean, it's still very, very good. If you'd have hit all three shots like that onto a normal golf course, I mean, distance control on those three shots have been really quite good, really quite good. Definitely something I could play the 923 Forged. I'd probably play it in the longer irons with the help that you're going to get from a lower further back CG and also that micro slot. So when you kind of mishit it, when it comes to you need something to the rescue. But again, I mean, that's faster swing speed. I'm dialing up a swing. I need to dial it back a little bit. 89 miles an hour, I saw that. So that's why it's going fractionally further. I mean, strike's been pretty good on that one, definitely. 89 miles an hour, I'm swinging too fast. Need to dial it back a little bit. 178, but 138 efficiency. You're not going to go wrong with one of these. Remember, at the end of the video, guys, we're going to do that forgiveness testing. So rather than just hitting out the middle, we are going to test all different parts of it and see how it works when you don't hit the middle all the time. Right, so let's go compare this directly over to the 223 and let's go see how the 223 feels and looks compared to the 923 Forged. Right, 223 in our hands. We have changed data sets as well, so we'll have separation between them. When it comes to the 223 against the 923 Forged, there are differences definitely when it comes to the top lines and offsets and blade lengths and sole thickness and stuff like that over the 923, but it's marginal. Every single dimension is relatively small. However, when you put it down by the ball, there is a slightly, all those different ones, all those different measurements make a difference to when it comes to the overall look. And the overall look on this one, you can definitely tell it is MP, Mizuno Pro. I really got to get out of the habit of saying MP, but for so many years, I have called it MP, and it will stay MP in my head anyway. But yeah, 923 done, 223 now. Oh, that's just lovely. Copper me up. So 89.9, slightly heely, but the efficiency's down now. There you go. So this has got copper. So the feeling on this one is softer. It's nicer, much more pleasant to hit, blah, blah, blah. Some people care, some people don't. So the people that don't care, 923 Forged just goes further. But no, it's just lovely. And that's a great result. Considering that was slightly heely, 7mm heel, that's a very, very good result. That's slightly toey. That is toey. That is toey. Look how well that's doing though. If you look at the carry points of the last two, there you go, 8mm toe, I can feel that straight away. I mean, good delivery, everything else, at fraction 8mm toe. 8mm toe is not a lot. The difference is you can really feel it on a Mizuno Pro. Didn't say MP, I just did. But 133 efficiency again, so we are talking about a lower efficiency standard than a 923 Forged. Now, yes, there is going to be somewhat of a different efficiency number because that's got 2 degrees less loft than this one, but not that much. That difference in efficiency coming from that 923 Forged springy, thinner face than the 223. 223 is winning all day long when it comes to the feel of it. Off the face, 223 is just lovely. That wasn't plumb on. That was not plumb on. Slightly low heel. What was the difference in carry on that one? Slightly slower swing, I think, as well. What was that? Yeah, 88 miles an hour again. Yes, there you go. 8mm heel, 4mm low. 133 efficiency again. It's like a robot, this golf club. If you hit it nominally, as in single digit miss, it's giving you the same information all the time. Be interesting to see what happens when you start mishitting the 223 against the 923 in weird spots to see how forgiveness changes. But yeah, those 3 shots, or I'd still go 223 all day long when it comes to feel though. Fraction left. Fraction over closed face, fraction heely, same carry, donk. What's the efficiency? 1.34, there you go, from 11mm heel. That's done really well. That has done, I mean, that is surprising me. I mean, obviously I'm hitting fairly middle laterally, vertically, just moving across left and right a little bit. But yeah, that's doing so well. Shaft-wise, let's go shaft-wise very quickly before we go into the forgiveness side of things. I have had this conversation, and I will do a video on this one because I do get comments saying, how can you be like... Anyway, I'm not shaft sensitive. It's because of how I transition, the way I transition. I'll do a video on it. But for the people that care, I've got this in the NS Pro Modus 115 stiff, my previous nemesis, of which I have now conquered. And I got in the 923 Forged, I've got the dollar taper 120 stiff. So weight-wise, very similar, but when it comes to bend profile, there's a fraction different in it. But it doesn't really matter, guys, because you're going to get custom fit for all your golf clubs that you buy brand new, aren't you? Of course. Right, though, let's go do this a load more times, though, but hit it all over the face rather than, yeah, fairly middle. And let's go see which one wins out of these two when it comes to forgiveness. So after hitting a load of shots with the Mizuno Pro 223 against the JPX923 Forged, I've hit load. And I've also captured some interesting forgiveness data as well. So we'll do the averages now, because there are some differences between these two irons that people need to be aware of. And depending on obviously what you're requiring from an iron choice, one of these two may suit you more than the other. And we'll go into the forgiveness, we'll go into actually how they perform relative to each other in a sec. So we'll just do the averages first of what the collection of data that I collected was. And before we start, very quickly, you'll see the numbers on here when they come up. They won't be the full out normal distance that I would expect when I hit them at full speed. The reason why I've dropped the speed down a fraction, I've got into sort of like the mid 80s to mid to high 80s in the 87s or so miles an hour. Why have I done that? Because you guys down the lens, most people, amateur golfers, don't swing as fast as me, and pros that swing well into 90 miles an hour with a 7-iron, that's kind of like PGA Tour kind of standard. So to try and glean an understanding of how golf clubs are going to be worked for the market that these are going to be aimed at, I've kind of dialed the speed down a little bit. So let's get into the averages, and we'll go into the forgiveness side a little bit after that for the interesting differences between these two irons. So Mizuno Pro 223 first, on average, ball speed 116.9, launching at 19.8, spinning at 5,800, peaking up at 34, descending at 48.1, which is very good. Anything over 45 degrees is a win, and then carrying 165. I have also got standard deviation numbers on there for everybody to critique. Going over to 923 Forged, ball speed 120.3 rather than 116.9, so there's 3.4 miles an hour difference between the two, give or take. 18.4 launch rather than 19.8, so we are reducing launch fractionally, but bear in mind also there is 2 degrees of loft difference between these, so I'm not surprised there is a slight difference. Spinning at 5.6 rather than 5.8, 200 RPM difference. Well, again, there is 2 degrees of loft difference, so there's always going to be a spin. Generally, there's always going to be a spin difference, but it's only 200 RPM. And going 34 yards in the air, and at 172 and 47.4 degrees. So going the exact same peak height, we're going 7 yards longer, the JPX923 over the 223, and we are only just making a 0.7, was it 0.7 of a degree difference when it comes to descent angle. So within reason, free distance. Remember guys, you can just crank a loft of an iron and it will go longer, but the more you crank, or the more you crank something as in stronger lofted, it will go longer, but launch will get lower and the peak heights generally tail off, and so then also descent angles. If you can have a two comparison of a golf club, one goes longer than the other one, say 20 yards, that'd be great, but let's say 20 yards because it's nice and easy. One goes 20 yards longer than the other one, yet they're both got the same peak heights and they've both got the same descent angles, as in functional, then that 20 yards is free distance, which was what everybody, well generally speaking, a lot of people want. So club head speeds, let's make sure I'm not cheating when it comes to collecting all the information I'm doing. Bear in mind I am a human, not a robot, but yeah, 223 first, club head speed 87.5 miles an hour, efficiency 1.34 on average, 3.9 down, 0.1 from the inside, 0.1 open, so within reason my delivery is path 0, face 0, within 0.1. Lie 0.5 up because they do fit me, because these samples have been bent. There's a long story into why, we won't go into it now. And then face impact is 0 mil toe, 3 mil low, and I've got standard deviation on there. So when it comes to flicking over to the next one, 923, you can critique it if you wish. The whole idea of standard deviation is to make sure that I don't say something which is negatively impacts on another golf club and say one's good and one's bad. If I don't put my head data on there, then I can't quantify what I'm saying from a point of view. I can't evidence it it and prove it. And also, if I'm given head data but then not given standard deviation, which is a measure of variance, you could hit 10 shots out the middle, so 0, 0, and you can be saying that, yeah, this golf club goes really far because I'm hitting out the middle like that. On another golf club, 10 shots, same, but I hit 10 shots, 5 of them 10 mil out the toe, 5 of them 10 mil out the heel. On average, they'll be 0. But the one that I've hit middle every single time is going to outperform the one that I've net 0, but I'm obviously gross, I'm quite a long way off middle. So standard deviation will show a difference between that. So the odd millimetre here or there is not a problem, but yeah, you want to see. So I've got standard deviation on there so you can critique it. Club head speed, 87.9 miles an hour, efficiency 1.37, so slightly higher, 0.03 higher than the 223. Angle attack 3.4, so within half a degree or so. Club path 0.6 from the inside, 0.5 open, so within again half a degree, matching exactly what the 223 was. Lie is 2.4 down because these haven't been bent. These media samples don't necessarily fit me in lie. Loft is 25.9 rather than 27.4, so there is 1.6 degrees loft difference. Well, there's 2 degrees static and I've delivered 0.4 less, so yeah, 1.6 degrees. And 4 mil toe, 2 mil low. So I've actually hit the JPX923 Forged worse or further off the middle on average than the 223. I've got 5 mil lateral and 3 mil vertical standard deviation when it comes to the 923 Forged, and 5 mil and 4 mil when it comes to the 223. So within 1 millimetre, exactly the same. So it'd be interesting to see what the differences are, considering I'm hitting the JPX fractionally worse. I'm slightly more off the toe. So if we go into the graphical representation of it, you'll be able to see somewhat of the difference. They within reason go basically the same height, 34 degrees and 34 degrees, but bear in mind also that could be the difference in rounding, the difference between 34.4 and 33.5. Very small amounts, we're talking less than a yard anyway. And then when you look at the picture of the dispersion, it is blurred a little bit because obviously inside that is miss hits as well. If I was to take all the miss hits out and hit normal shots, they would get ridiculously small and you wouldn't probably see much difference when it comes to normal out the middle hits. So one would just go longer than the other because of the loft difference. Right, so, and as you can see by the club side of things, you can see the miss, well, not say the miss strike, the general pattern of misses is slightly worse on the 923 Forged. Okay, so let's go have a little look. Let's go miss for the 223 on the heel. We've got 83.4 miles an hour, so slow club head speed. Trying to keep the speed down as best I can. 0.0 delivery when it comes to path and 1.1 close, so fraction go left, which it did at 3.6. 2 mil high, 14 heel. 1.33 efficiency. Now, if you remember, the efficiency on the 223 was 1.34 on average. The fact that it's managed to only drop that amount is quite impressive from 14 mil out the heel. Again, we are talking microslot, and that microslot in the 223 and JPX923 Forged runs all the way from the heel to the toe to allow the face to spring when it comes to off-centre hits. But yeah, that's doing really, really quite well. If we go over to the same or very, very similar miss when it comes to a 923 Forged heel miss, 83.9 miles an hour rather than 83.4, so within half a mile an hour of it. Club path 1.1 from the inside, 0.6 open, so yeah, slightly out to the right, but yeah. But then 14 mil hill, 4 mil low, so within reason 14 mil hill again, and it's gone 1.35 efficiency. Now, the 1.35 efficiency is better than the 223, but bearing in mind also that the 923 Forged is already coming from a slightly higher efficiency number anyway, so we're not just talking about is one better than the other when it comes to efficiency. We're talking about how much efficiency or smash factor, bang for your buck, what ball speed you get per club head speed, that kind of idea. What kind of drop off have you got? And there's not that much difference between the 223 and the 923 Forged. They perform fairly well. Next one here for the 923, done a slight toe miss. 87.4 miles an hour, 0.0 club path, 0.7 open, 4 mil low, 13 toe, 17 mil off of middle. And efficiency is now down at 1.29 from 1.34, I think it was it 1.34 efficiency average, yeah? So we are dropping a little bit now. It's fine. absolutely fine. It's 17 mil, so it's 3/4 of an inch off the middle, which is not brilliant, but it's doing absolutely fine considering this is an MP or a Mizuno Pro. It's a small head, and it is smaller in size head-wise than the 923. So the help you're going to get from that micro slot is not going to be quite as pronounced as what the 923 bigger, springier face. Go over to the 923 forged toe miss, 14 mil low, 4 mil low, and that's basically 1 mil worse than the 223. We're 87.9 miles an hour, 1.1 across, 1.9 open, so it's 2 degrees open, so you're going to get a little bit of reduction in efficiency because my face was fractionally open. I would have liked to have had that face fractionally more closed than that, but 1.32 efficiency, 162 yards. So considering it's a little bit of fadey swing and it was 18 millimeters off the middle, the 923 Forged has done pretty good, has done pretty well. Here we go for a bit of fun. The 223 now, big toe miss we've got here. 0.6 from the inside, 1.1 closed, 86.1 miles an hour, 4 mil low, 21 mil toe, 25 mil gross, which is a cool inch away from middle. And has it dropped? It has. It's gone 1.29, but that's not bad considering normal average was 1.34. So it's done really well considering that is a cool inch away on an MP head, a Mizuno Pro head. It's a smaller head. There's not much face left on a 25 mil. It's done really well. If we then look at a similar miss then to onto the 923, you've got 88.5 miles an hour, 0.5 path, 1 degree close. Efficiency is 1.3 rather than 1.29, but it's 20 mil off the toe. So actually the 223 was a worse miss than the 923 Forged, and within reason efficiency there's not much in it. If anything, I would say like for like, because you're already dealing with the 923's got a slightly higher efficiency to start with. The actual 223 on extreme toes wins. I don't know why, just how the face reacts. So but they're both doing really well. I mean, 25 mil toes is a massive miss hit. And again, if you're regularly hitting irons from interesting parts of the face like this, you need lessons, not golf clubs. You need to be looking at trying to hit the middle a little bit more. You don't have to hit it 0-0. You can, anything within, well, you've seen there, 14 mil or so is going to perform absolutely fine. But I mean, if you're regularly missing the face by this much, you need to be having lessons to try and center your strike a little bit more. Right, so very quickly to give you an idea of what the differences are in middle strikes between these two. I've got one here, 223 middle, 87.9 miles an hour, 1 from the inside, 0.1 closed, 0 mil low, 3 mil toe. So within 3 mil, absolutely perfect, 1.35 efficiency. One thing I'll say right now when it comes to the 223, once you get going with the 223 being a more MP Mizuno Pro construction, it's with that copper underlay as well, it just feels a little bit more consistent to hit the same number every single time. The 923 with that hotter face, springier face, I'm not saying it's bad for distance control at all, I'm not. It's just that it's what it gives in that extra punch, and we'll go into that one now. 923 Forged, 87.1 miles an hour, 0.1 path, 1.6 open. So that has a fraction face open. So you're going to get a bit of a glancing blow from a face open. 2 mil toe, 2 mil low. So within reason, very, very close to the middle. 1.39 efficiency. That face is springy. And it really, really is springy. If you look at the flights between the two, we'll go, so looking at the 223 middle, that was going 36 yards in the air and 48.7 degrees descent angle at 169. Yeah, so speeds were very, very similar between the two. It was 0.8 in it. But if you have a look at the middle shot when it comes to the 923, it's gone 36 yards at 174. So we've gained 5 yards. That's it. But we've gained 5 yards from it, and that's free distance. Okay, we're talking about the fact that you've got two golf clubs which are not equal. There's 2 degrees of loft difference. Now, okay, there's 2 degrees or 1.6 degrees in delivered loft that I did, yeah. But when you've got two golf clubs which are delivering the same amount of peak heights and descent angles, basically, but one's going longer than the other, it's instantly free distance, which everyone wants within reason. And then when it comes to the difference between the forgiveness, I would marginally put the nominal misses, the misses around the face normally, to the 923 Forged, definitely. When it comes to actually extreme misses, I was surprised how well the 223 did on really extreme, like 25 mil away from middle. Okay, when I say it pipped it, it literally pipped it by a fraction when it comes over the 923. But if you're going to be trying to make a decision over the 923 and 223 based on the fact that your 25 mil shots are fractionally better on the 223 than 923, I think people are missing the point. On the whole, two very, very good irons. Which one would I choose? I would choose 223 because of the copper underlay, and I like the feeling and I like the look, the cleaner look of the 223. If you're someone who doesn't really mind too much about the slightly clickier, non-copper underlaid feeling of the JPX923 Forged, and the fact you want to get a bit of extra distance with the same peak heights and descent angles that you're going to get from a 223, then by all means, 923 Forged is the one. That would be the only decision between the two. Do you like the feel? Then go, and the looks go one way. Do you want the forgiveness and distance? Go a different way. They both basically perform very, very similar when it comes to flight. It's just one's fractionally longer than the other, so free distance. So anyway, hope you liked the video. If you did, go on thumbs up down there. YouTube likes it, so do I. Next to that is a little red button. It's a subscribe button. It's free and it helps the channel at no end, so thank you for doing that. And while you're down there also subscribing, there is a little bell icon. That's a notification bell. When you click that one, that will notify you next time I upload another video. So I hope you're well, and we'll see you again soon.